Dr. Mark Shangizi here with your Science Moment. Today I'm going to talk about being limber, being lithe and limber and having no joint pain or pains and being able to just move and be the acrobatic person we're supposed to be, and high sugars. Now, it's sort of a personal story, and I'm not sure that I'm right. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a sort of a mathematician, physicist, sort of, that kind of scientist. But over the last 5 years or so, I've been getting, despite doing CrossFit, I'm very, I do a lot of competitions and CrossFit competitions around town. I do CrossFit almost every day. I'm very fit in one hand, but I was getting more and more, for example, knee pains, tendon pains, and I would have sort of pains, running pains in the heels, and lots of parts of my body were getting more and more painful. I was starting moving more like an old man, and it was getting a little depressing. And simultaneously, over the years, I was getting other kinds of symptoms of something that I was eating, and I didn't really quite understand it. And over time, I finally identified the latter to be signs of high sugar. So I'm almost 55 years old. I surely have poor insulin production relative to what I had years ago, where I could eat arbitrarily large amounts of food, and did. So I was, you sort of get blurry eyes, and I'd be wanting to pee more often and want to drink a lot of water, even getting fruity smelling breath. I started to tell over the last 3 or 4 months ago, I think I had signs of high sugars, and I may have been having that at such small levels, but bothering me for years, but never really putting my finger on it. So finally I realized I was having all the signs of being high blood sugar, and I still hadn't put together these sorts of body pains and lack of limberness and so forth. And it finally occurred to me in December that, wait a second, one of the first things I would predict, because we all know that folks that are diabetic, eventually, if it's not addressed, they can lose their toes because of lack of circulation. The far extremities, the parts that have trouble getting they're not as well perfused, are the first stuff to feel the impacts, right? And it started to occur to me, it's like, well, yeah, if I'm chronically a little bit high blood sugar, and I was already kind of on a low carb diet, but still I was having fruits here and there, and a cookie with coffee, let's say at a coffee shop here and there. If I was chronically at high levels, then the parts of my body that are least perfused should be the parts that first experience trouble. If they become injured during workouts, well, they're going to have a lot of trouble ever healing, because I'm not getting good blood flow to those spots, because they're inherently not well perfused spots. And some of the least well perfused spots on the human body are things like tendons. They are notoriously long to heal, just for anybody. And if you're at high blood sugars and it's hurting the small vessel circulation there, it's going to prevent it from healing altogether. So it was really consistent, because all of my chronic pain that I was having was all stuff I could almost always touch. I could touch the spots, the tendons themselves that were hurting. So I said, basically Christmas of 2023, just two months ago or so, I said, all right, I'm going to completely cut sugars. If I am going to have any sugars, by which I mean even breads and potatoes and anything that has carbs in it, I'll have the really small amounts, and I'll separate it over many hours here and there, so that I'm always below the sort of what my pancreas, what my insulin levels can handle. So within even just 2 weeks, the pain was almost gone, 30% of what it had been before, and now 2 months in, the pain is almost entirely gone. I can say it's still there, but I suspect, my prediction is that, well, these things take a long time to heal, even if you've got healthy, normal circulation. I'm much healthier circulation than I was 2 months ago, but it could still take many months before the pain goes away. But I'd say I'm at 10% pain. I suddenly feel young and lithe and can just move around. I'm not worried about having to bend over and going, oh shit, I can't get back. The pain is so bad. It was pretty bad. On camera, I'm not doing anything here, so you can't tell that I was in pain from having to bend down. But it was getting to be, you feel old mainly because of these sorts of aches and pains when you move. That's often what makes you feel old. Anyway, those pains are gone. I'm suddenly doing all the athletic stuff I was without fear of the kinds of pains that I was having. So I often wonder, as someone who's always been fairly low carb, and a lot of folks are not. They're just having tremendous amounts of carbs. They're still saying, oh, I'm doing a low-fat diet following the 1990s advice, which has changed long ago. And if you're also experiencing pain, joint pain that you would just describe as joint pain, but it might be due to the fact that you're just chronically high sugar. You need to ask a doctor, but I would say that I think probably most doctors know this, but the average, I think, folks, and you and me, we don't really get the connection that it's really high sugars, our inability to accommodate them, that slowly deteriorates the ability for your body to bring blood to those regions over time. And it begins in things like tendons, peripheral parts of the body, but eventually, as you get worse and worse, all of the fine capillaries, including your ability to think, and just generally, and heart attacks, all of these things are probably based on, affected in large part by slow deterioration of your ability to perfuse these sorts of parts of your body. That was your science moment. If you haven't gotten a copy of my earlier book, Vision Revolution, which I've talked about recently in a video about why we see perceived motion versus perceived change of position, in that book I talk about color vision. In my company, Vino Optics, where we sell colorblind glasses and vein finder glasses and Free-X glasses, these things are all about seeing with your eyes, which we evolved to see perfusion, to see blood under the skin. When someone is healthy and they're not, they're not diabetic because they're not able to, over time their capillaries have deteriorated and they can no longer get all of their peripheral parts of their body showing blood, oxygenated blood, well, then that's what shows signs of age. The glow of youth itself is seeing these capillaries and having your eyes, which evolved to see the variations of oxygenation of blood just under the skin. That's why we have red-green vision. There's a 2006 discovery of mine upon which Vino Optics is based. We leverage that to build technology that allows color deficients to see these emotion states, these health states, these sociosexual signals that come off of human bodies, allows medical personnel to see veins better, and allows just you and me, regular folks who want sunglasses, to actually have the first sunglasses that have ever been built that actually augment the signal that color vision is for, namely these socio-emotional signals. That was your science moment.